Dr. Nanda, what are the other big issues that today's verdict really throws up? Is there something that's going to hold good, be cited in the future as well? What are the big takeaways from today's judgment, according to you?
Sovereignty, there cannot be two different sovereignty concepts.
Right.
Sovereignty of India is the first and the last. What the Supreme Court has said, that there cannot be a separate sovereignty of the state of Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
Once the instrument of accession has been signed, it is total surrender of their own sovereignty, so-called sovereignty, to the government of India. But now they are part of it. This is first part of it, which will be cited always, like Keshwanand Bharti's case.
Yes.
That basic structure and all that.
Right.
This will be cited, and then the other part, which is very important, and I'm still to go through this judgment in detail, but I was hearing while this was being delivered, is that they said that Article 370 was a temporary phase.
Yes.
It's been almost 75 years that this temporary phase was going on. This is a very important observation. Mind it, there are other temporary provisions in the constitution, like reservation.
Yeah.
That too was temporary. Initially it was for 10 years, then extended another 10 years, then yet another 10 years, and every time it is 10 years. God knows when the end is going to come and something is going to be done, because this government is doing very good job about selecting these temporary provisions and then trying to address the issues as far as possible.
Right.
This was perhaps the first one, and Supreme Court has agreed with them that temporary is temporary. It cannot be permanent. It is irrespective whether there is this Constituent Assembly or not.
Right.
I mean, the Act of the Government of India cannot be stopped. So this is the second part, which I just said, that temporary means temporary, and the government has all the authority to scrap the temporary provision. This is going to be cited in future cases, certainly.
Right. What are the possible future cases that this judgment would be cited? I mean, would it be like, for instance, hypothetical scenario of a couple of states getting together and saying that, look, we are very unhappy with the state of the union and we'd like to secede? Would that be?
No. You see, if you are asking, if I'm correctly understanding you, see, we have this federal structure to be followed, but we are more of a quasi-federal.
Right.
Still, the central government holds the power, but this power is held in a restricted and limited manner. Once the state becomes UT, like Lakshadweep or Delhi or till very recently Goa, etc., Daman, the authority of the state government ceases there.
Right.
It is immaterial what kind of legislative assembly you have and whatever name you are happy to give it. Like in Delhi, you see that the fights are going every day to Supreme Court for decision of even appointment of the Chief Secretary. So the same kind of things are going to be raised if the central government is not going to return the statehood to the Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
In the near future. There are going to be protests, there are going to be future litigation for implementing that assurance and saying that things have returned to normalcy almost.
Right.
Now it cannot be, whatever was temporary at that point of time is still temporary provision of making it a UT. Please return the normalcy, return the statehood. These are the possible things which will certainly, and as I just said, I am not sure that that the elections will be held by September 2024. Lot is going to depend on the Lok Sabha elections.
Yes.
The government is going to take the call at that point of time.
Yes.
And because these holding elections and for returning to the statehood, these are the possible litigations which will arise now, which I expect that should be rising.
Aditya, in fact, there was another very interesting point that was made by Justice Kaul, where he recommended the creation of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, like the one in South Africa. How significant is that observation, and what are the chances that the government could actually set something up like this? It's been discussed in the past.
Well, Sandeep, it's massive. Honestly, I, in my previous avatar as a student activist, back in 18 years ago, had been campaigning for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission as a Kashmiri, because particularly the Kashmiri Pandit community has suffered a lot. And in these last 30 to 35 years, the cases have not been investigated.
Yes.
In a lot of instances, FIRs have not been registered. So the community has been demanding that, we need to know the truth.
Right.
Even if justice cannot be delivered 35 years later, at least form a commission which at least listens to us, and there's a historical record of what happened to us, and give it a term. It could be ethnic cleansing, it could be genocide, it could be merely forced exodus.
Right.
So one part is the Kashmiri Hindu community. Second is, let's not forget, a lot of Muslims have also died in this entire process, where anybody who is seen as an Indian in Kashmir, who is seen with the Indian army or with the Indian Constitutional Parliament, is targeted by terrorists. Then the Sikh community, which has met a lot of massacres, the Chatti Singh Pura, etc. So a lot of people combined in Jammu and Kashmir have suffered.
Right.
And Justice Sanjay Krishan Kaul himself is a Kashmiri.
Yes.
He has his ancestral, legacy in Kashmir. His grandfather was, I believe, a diwan in the Raja's court. So he also understands the pain and anguish of the common Kashmiris. And I really hope that the central government, Modi government, takes a cue from this and holds a commission, because 35 years later, they have started the process of, again, opening a case, Mr. Ganju's case, who was a judge who had given the conviction for Maqbool Butt's hanging. So if that can happen, if the Sikh cases can be investigated 40 years later, then why not have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission? Because, justice will only happen when there's a dialogue.
Right.
And, there's a patience in the government, in the administration, to listen to all shades of opinion, from Kashmiris to Dogras to Paharis to even people from Ladakh. Because Jammu and Ladakh has this, grievance that they've been discriminated upon for all these 75 years. So I hope that this paves the way not just to end separatism, terrorism and the jihadi mindset that has been there, cultivated for a very long time, an ecosystem that was let to grow, but also now gives peace a chance. And peace will only happen when this truth, reconciliation and justice happens.
Ashok, you think this is a big step forward?
I just want to add to what they said. Now, what Justice Kaul is saying in his judgment is that the people of this state or the union territory need a healing touch. It's time that something is done to put an end to whatever has happened. Now, Truth and Reconciliation Commission is a right step, according to me, in the direction, because what I have seen a lot of cases from Jammu and Kashmir which have been, reopened, tried to be reinvestigated, but nothing has happened. However, there have been cases, tons and tons of cases, where even when the trial proceedings went on, not a single witness came forward and testified. Now 20 years later, 25 years later, if the situation is made conducive in the union territory and people are willing to come forward and testify, what is wrong in having those trials being reopened? Let justice have a chance, and that is exactly what Justice Kaul is saying, that by the way of this Truth and Reconciliation Commission, give it a shot, give it a healing touch. So I believe that whatever he is saying, although he did say that I am being a little sentimental when I am saying this, considering that he himself is a Kashmiri and he's very closely associated. I know once a month he always travels to Srinagar and Baramulla. He has his ancestral properties there, and he's very closely connected with Jammu and Kashmir. So coming from a man who is rooted with the soil of Jammu and Kashmir, it's a huge, huge statement, and I'm pretty sure that the government of India is going to take a cue from what he said.
Right. Dr. Nanda, you see many such other similar demands being made, because, in the last 75 years, we've had horrific massacres, of the Sikh community, particularly in Delhi. There's no justice being delivered to them as well. There have been cases in the northeast, all over India practically. Is this the right time for the government to set up a mechanism like this, so that you can address all these grievances that have been kind of neglected over the last couple of years?
See, taking clue from today's judgment, yes, certainly this is the right time when the government can, if they want to bring normalcy to the valley, to Jammu area, that such kind of commissions should be, no matter what the outcome will be, because if it is 30 years old matter, 40 years old matter, God knows from where the evidences are going to become. But then nevertheless, they can at least put some balm over the burns of the affected people. That yes, we are trying to, that do help you. And that is going to go a long way. This is the government of India, the present day executive should take a clue from the today's judgment, though not specifically said, as Justice Kaul was also getting very emotional about it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, there is no direction. But the government of India should take a clue from today's judgment and should act. I mean, in my speaking personally for myself, I feel this is the right time that they should take it and take it further. Establish commissions and all that, open cases, no matter what happens, at least that is going to create a good atmosphere, peaceful atmosphere in the mind of those people, the Kashmiri Pandits, the people, the other people, Sikhs even, everybody around there. It is not, today the atmosphere there is of a calm which is forced. Today it is not a happy calm there. Right. If you want to get the state in a real happy way, then these kind of measures are required, irrespective of what the results will be.
Right. Mr. Amin, you believe this is the case? The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, need of the hour?
It's a very good decision and the government should do it. Actually, everybody has appreciated for the judgment of the Supreme Court of India today, and everybody has the hope on that. And everybody is looking for that. After the judgment, the government of India is going to take a note on that, and they have to implement or not. That is the good for the country and good for the citizens of the Kashmir also. They were neglected so long back.
News9 Plus. Download now.